guys, welcome back to the Big Sew Along. I'm Ginny, and as always, I thank you very much for choosing to spend some time with me. This week, I have a very exciting pattern review for you. It is the Jazz ebook from Ready to Sew, which I have been obsessing about since I did my January inspiration video. I did make this twice in the last few weeks, but before we get to that, I have a lot of pattern notes for you on this. It's a big one, because this pattern has a total of, I believe, 80 different variations you can make with this pattern. So let's get into this a little bit. It has, I'll show you some pictures of the line drawings here as we go. This pattern has 4 different bodice patterns. And I'm trying to remember. Okay, so V-neck, round neck, button front on both of those, wrap front, tank, like more of an extended, like almost like a cap sleeve. So then, and then the bib front. Also, there are pattern bodices that have darts and some that don't, so you have that option as well. This pattern has 4 different versions. I'm pretty sure it's 4 different versions for bottoms. There's a wide leg pant, a narrower leg pant, a skirt, and a variety of lengths. You can literally just make the skirt any length you want, anything from a peplum to a maxi skirt. And then also a pair of shorts. In addition to that, there are also a couple of sleeves you can add on. I'm not 100% sure because I didn't make one with the sleeves, but I think that the sleeves have to go with the darted bodices. I'm not 100% sure, but if you're thinking about adding the sleeves, just double check that. Okay, so let me just say, like, obviously I made this twice in the last couple of weeks, so, and I love it. I really love this pattern. And like I said, I'll show you my final makes here in a minute, but I will say there were a couple of issues that I had with this pattern. First of all, you guys, anybody who's not in the United States, and probably a lot of you who are in the United States, are going to think I'm a complete idiot, and I apologize. But the seam allowances on this are 6mm, and I'm like, holy cow, I just figured out what like 1 centimeter was in like imperial. So I went with 3/8 of an inch. If you guys have a better suggestion for the seam allowances, let me know what that is, because yeah, the millimeters totally threw me off. That's not a complaint or a problem with the pattern. That's purely like my ineptitude. I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so the other thing is, and I'll show you a picture here, like this pattern, I got this printed in the AO form, and I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it was 8 pages, 8 AO pages, which is a lot. That is also totally fine. However, you can see here, this is what the AO pages look like. If you print this in AO, the pattern pieces are printed on top of each other on a couple of the pages. Now, presumably the designer does that to save printing paper, but if you have to trace it out, you're still using paper. So I would prefer to not have to trace it out once I've had it printed, because you know, you pay for your pattern and then you pay for your printing, and I just want to be done. I don't want to then also have to trace something out. That said, there are a couple of things you can do. For example, on both of the the wide leg pants, the narrow leg pants, and the shorts all have like 2 variations, one without the fly front and one with the fly front. You just need to trace out the one with the fly front and then fold the fly under if you want to make the one without the fly front. That way you don't have to trace out 2 separate front pieces. They're the same, except for one has a fly front, which you can easily fold back, right? So if you're thinking about making these, I highly recommend just tracing one of the fronts, so you don't need to trace both. Also, I did cut both the wide leg pant and the narrow leg pant, and they both had pattern pieces on the sheet for the pockets. Once you trace one set of pockets, you can use that one pocket for all of these all of these different variations, the pocket is the same. So even though there's a pocket printed on multiple different pages, it's not a different pocket, it's all the same. So I think you can just use that same, I just traced it out once and used that for both of my pattern pieces, and it fit fine. I assumed that they're all the same. So just FYI, that's what I would do if I was going to retrace these. The other thing I wanted to say about this one is two things. This version, I did not shorten these pants. I did give them a good 1.5 inches. Just checking my hem. I give them an 1.5 inches hem. And these are longer than I would normally wear, but just be aware of that, because if you're taller, you may need to actually lengthen these pants. The other thing is, I'll show you a close-up picture here. Where the bib attaches here, the strap doesn't attach right next to the edge. Like here you can see in the picture. And I'm not sure I like that, or I don't know, do I like that or do I not like that? What do you guys think? Okay, I mean, it's easy enough. You just move it over to the side. I'm just trying to decide if it looks awkward or if it's just fine. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, so the next one I made was on the pattern sheet, and there are like 1, 2, I think there are 8 sheets of line drawings. So it's just a ton. Okay, so the next one I made was this one right here. This is view 20. It is the more cap sleeve top with a button front, the peg leg or the narrow leg pants up with the button fly. So it buttons all the way up and down. Again, on this one, I need to get my pictures out here. On this one, I did the same thing. I cut a 44 up top and I cut a 42 on bottom. The thing on this one is, let me see if I can find my picture. After I finished this one, first of all, let me just tell you that this fabric was, it's vintage. It's 1980s fabric that my best friend salvaged from her mother-in-law's house when they moved a few years ago. And I have been like dying to make something out of this ever since I got it. And I think that this is kind of the perfect little jumpsuit for it. I don't know, just saying. Okay, so this again is a 44 on top and the 42 on bottom. Now, I honestly think that on this one, I could have done a 42 on top, and I did already recut this pattern piece, so it will be a 42. I also shortened the bodice on this one 1 inch for my next one. This one hits me a little bit low. What I did do in this pattern though was I shortened the legs 2 inches, and they're still pretty long. So what I did on this one was just added a facing to the underside and then rolled it up so it could be nice and short. But the next time I think I'll shorten it. I'll shorten the legs another 1 inch. So on no alterations to this one that you're looking at. Size 44 on top, size 42 on bottom. Next time I'm going to size down the top and shorten it, and I'll shorten the pants another inch. The fly front, which is just like a button front, like a jumper thing, it's a little funky putting it together, but if you just follow the directions, it works out perfectly fine. It was actually easy once you figure out what she's talking about. Once you just like read the directions. And I did want to say, those of you who've watched me for a while know that I am notoriously bad at reading directions. I actually read the directions for the pieces I needed. I also had them handy so that I could look up any questions I had. This pattern is not like a hand-holding pattern. It does, however, have more than sufficient instructions. So if you've sewn before and you know like basic garment construction, you're going to be absolutely fine. There's nothing tricky or crazy about this particular pattern. I think her instructions are good. It's actually the way that I prefer instructions, because I don't want somebody to hold my hand and tell me like each and every individual step. Some people do, and that is absolutely fine, but you're not going to get that with this pattern. It's not quite as hand-holdy as some. Okay, that's it so far. But am I done with this pattern? No. I have more plans. Okay, so what plans do I have for this pattern? I have a lot. I'm obviously not going to get to all of these, but these are just the ideas I had so far. So here we go. For the wrap front version, which looks like it is, there's so many here. Okay, so I would like to make version number, I think it is going to be number 60, which is a wrap front top and a plain skirt, which will on me probably be like just below the knee or maybe even midi length for the spring and summer. And for that I have this beautiful, can you see that? Black and white check mini houndstooth. That's 100% linen. I think that would be really cute in a wrap. Now this particular pattern has a the bodice wraps, but the skirt doesn't. So the bodice wraps and then it gets sewn to like a plain skirt, so it's like a faux wrap, I guess. I would actually make mine a full wrap because I just prefer that. The next one I have is number 40, which is just like a plain, I believe it's just a plain pullover tank with like the straight skirt. It's a gathered skirt, but there's no tiers or anything like that. And I think I'm going to use this red silk charmeuse that I've had in my stash for ages. I feel like this would be a really good basic, like kind of slip to wear with a bunch of other stuff. So I may do that. The next bib version I want to make, I can't decide if I want to make this one that I have on today, or if I want to do the bib number 55 right here that has the button front. But in either case, I have this Kelly green linen, and this was from, I think it was from Nick of Time Fabrics. Anyways, I intentionally bought this for this pattern, so I definitely want to do that. I just haven't decided if I want to do the bib with the buttons or without the buttons. Let me know if you guys have a preference. You guys may remember this fabric from back in my fall plans, which I still have not gotten to, obviously. I was going to use this for a Merchant and Mills shirt, which I did not get around to yet. But I did think I could make another one of version number 75, or sorry, 76 or 79, the one that I made before, or the one I probably would make more the tank version as opposed to the cap sleeve version in this, which I thought could be really fun for summer. And then last but not least, I have this really cool, I don't know what this is called. This is actually called a wax block print, and I got this last summer from AfricanFabrics.com. Can you see how cool that is? I was thinking about doing another bib front dress with a button front. So that would be version 56. So many options here. Okay, anyways, I think that is it for me this week. I have plenty of plans for this pattern. I really hope you guys give this one a try. I think it is such a cool pattern. Once you make one of them, you will totally get how the whole thing goes together, and you could make just a million versions of this one pattern, which is super like bang for your buck. I love that. And making these two versions were just super fun for me. I forgot to say my my 80s version is missing buttons. I didn't have any buttons to go with that, so I ordered some, and they should be delivered today, but of course they weren't delivered. We had an ice storm last night, so I think my postman's probably just running a bit behind. I hope he hasn't like wiped out someplace, because these sidewalks are bonkers. Just sheets of ice everywhere. So that is it for me this week. Next week, we are going to be talking about, I have been working on a couple of Alabama Shannon style projects for the last since like right around Christmas time, so a couple months now. I'm gonna sort of share some of those things with you. And then also, I have a very exciting announcement for next week. So I hope you will all tune in. And until then, I wish you happy sewing.